Hi guys, welcome to the Sports Rifle 724 podcast. Yeah, it has been a while, but then again, it's good to be back. Parents are often the driving force behind an athlete's success, and when they are suddenly taken away, we would expect the athlete to be left in shambles. And yet, many times we've watched the exact opposite take place, where extraordinary accomplishments happen in the face of this type of tragedy. Today, I am joined by Vuyiswa Kimberley Dhlomo, who found beach volleyball as an escape after a mother passed away. So, without wasting much of your time, let's get into it. My guest today, as I've highlighted before, is a volleyball player. She doubles as both a six-a-side and a beach volleyball player, and the name is Vuyiswa Kimberley Dhlomo. So, Vuyiswa, we would love to know who is Vuyiswa Kimberley Dhlomo.
Vuyiswa Kimberley Dhlomo. I'm a small town girl. I was born and raised in Kariba. I did my primary school in Kariba. I then went to John Talak, Ntabazinduna for my ordinary level. Then for my A levels, I went to Founders in Bulawayo as well. So I was in Matebeleland most of my high school years. I would still go back home to Kariba for holidays.
So, Kimberley, I would love to know when you started playing volleyball.
I started playing volleyball. This is a hard question in a way. No, it's not really hard. I started playing volleyball in high school. Let's put it that way. I used to watch my dad play a bit, Kubasa Kwao, Vaimbotamba, and I'd just watch and think, oh, this is a cool sport. I'll probably try it out if our school did it, but they didn't do it. So yeah, I then went to John Talak and Tango Itamba Muma Winter Games. Ku John Talak, it wasn't a very sporty school. It was a mission school. Kana ndichiti it was a mission school. A mission school, yeah, yoguti kana mchitamba ma sports and you're girls, you are not allowed to wear tight chete. Unopfeka tight, upfeka skirt pamsoro pe tight. So you'd be in gym skirts and a tight underneath. So that's how sports were at John Talak. And the only time we played volleyball was in winter. Kana kwakuitwa ma winter sports. They were not very sporty people. Chikoro Chachona was not founded on my sports. The school is founded on the mission and academics. So my sports were not big, but you would see me kana kuri kuma summer games. We would have, I'll do high jump, I'll do discus. Discus ndakatombosvika provincial level. I did short put, I did triple jump, high jump, and in winter I used to play a bit of volleyball. Ndandisingagoni sterek, but I'd know ukuthi this ball needs to go over the net. So that's what I did. And in doing that, people thought I was good. And then when I went to Founders, I get there. I'm in lower six, and they had volleyball, and I joined the team. I discovered kuti muteam machona I was probably the oldest player. In lower six, I was the oldest. You didn't have a lot of A-level students doing those type of sports. Most of the students were into books and stuff like that. It's not good I was dumb or anything. I was just bored. The classroom used to bore me. I would get what the teacher is saying, but I was just like, this is not exciting. So in my senior year, when I was in upper six, ndakatoenda kuma-youth games. I'd trained so hard kuti nditambe muschool team yekuchikoro, and my parents were not really happy about it. My dad especially, he hated the idea yekuti ndaikoshesa masports kudarika chikoro changu. I was like, you know what, if you just let me do this, I think I'll balance both things out. But the more you resist, the more I'll also resist. So we had a fight. We were always fighting with my dad. And upper six, ndakatoenda kuma youth games. The only upper six student aitamba masports kudaro. Ndakaenda kuma youth games, and in a few months time tainyora my exams ekupedza A level. And I didn't care. Kuti ndaenda my games. When will I get time to read? I just didn't care. I wanted to play. So yeah, that's where my volleyball career started. I started playing in Bulawayo. Ndakatotambira Bulawayo province kuma national youth games ekuwange. I can't remember what year that was. But yeah, I started playing like that in upper six. When I then came to Harare for my tertiary education, that's another story. I get to the University of Zimbabwe, and the first thing I wanted to know was, where are the courts? Is there volleyball? And zvikanzi iriko, you start looking at your school schedule, kuti where can volleyball fit in there? And I get to the courts, and I just started playing. I started learning how to be a better player, because obviously high school volleyball and college volleyball are two different things, and college volleyball is also incorporated into club volleyball. So ndakatanga kutambira team yepa college ye-UZ.
How you started playing volleyball, it's quite an interesting journey. So there are so many sports codes in the country. I would love to know why you chose volleyball of all the other sports codes. Why did you choose to play volleyball?
Why volleyball? Well, volleyball. I hate running. Honestly, I hate running. Handidi kumhanya. Pese pandinotaura zvemasports zvese izvika, the last time I ran and made an impact was in primary school. Ndaimhanya ma 800 meters nema short distance amwe acho. I would be first or second or third from grade 1 to grade 7. In grade 7, this one time I I fainted ne 800 meters. That's when I discovered kuti ndakura. Like in grade 7, you're growing boobs, your hips are popping out, you are on your period, and you're just like, what on earth is happening to my body? I was feeling heavy. Volleyball is not a contact sport. I hate contact sports. I tried playing basketball in Form 1, netball in primary, ndakadhumwa nevanhu, and I'm quite thin and I don't like kugumwa nevanhu. Basketball is rough, netball is rough, and handidi kumhanya. Volleyball, you are jumping and you are moving urita to my short bursts, and that's fine with me. The training is intense. I enjoy the training, and I like my, what you call them, my gameplay, like my strategies on how to play, the concepts we are using to play. You need to use your mind when you're playing volleyball. You just don't play. So for me, that's how I fell in love with it. Even watching, I can spend the whole day watching, but obviously data and it's no nets. But yeah, I love volleyball because I don't get to contact anyone. It's just a ball and the net, and you play. It's a team sport as well. I feel like it brings people closer to each other. You get to know someone. Uchimona achitamba, uchiona dedication yake. I respect sports people a lot, even not necessarily volleyball, but the actual dedication they give themselves to do a particular sport. I feel like that deserves a lot of respect.
So you have mentioned when you started playing volleyball. Now take us through the clubs that you have played six-a-side volleyball for.
Played for the college team for a bit, and I immediately started playing for a club called Dolphins. I had been approached by a few clubs, but I then went for Dolphins. I think ndakagara for like a year and a half pabench, and ndairwadziwa nekugara pabench tichiti, but coach, inga ndiri kuuya training, inga ndogona kurova bhora. Zvikanzi once you stop saying that, ndipo pandichakupinza muground. Zvikanzi unogona kurova 20 balls in a row here. Ndikati ndogona. Zvikanzi let's do this. The coach asks my teammates to get mabhora ese andiri kurova vachiwadzosa, and I have to hit 20 balls without fail. Rikati sadarika net, ndikarovera munet, tiri kutangidza. Until I could do that, I was not worthy kutamba mukoti, zviri nani ndigare pabench. I respected that, and once I started playing, I discovered kuti you need to work hard to be in that position. So I played for Dolphins, and then I played for Sharks. Yaimbonzi Marlborough Sharks kudhara, but vava kungoiti Sharks. Yanga ina coach Willix. Or Dolphins yanga ina coach Sober. Then Sharks yanga ina coach Willix, and Dolphins was incorporated into Sharks because Dolphins stopped existing, and we all moved to Sharks. Sharks as well, I guess it faded again for some reason. Zvinongo fade, I may not say. I moved to JS Harare, and I never left. I stayed for almost 3 years ku JS Harare, and I loved every second of it. Kuna coach vanonzi Coach Martin Dururu. Mudhara akarongeka iyeye, and he's a well-respected man in volleyball. Well, that's how I feel about him. The man is a genius when it comes to volleyball. The style of play yakatosiyana. You know, when you play volleyball, zvichinzi mangwana kune league match, and maybe fixture inobudiswa 3 or 4 or 5 days before, everyone knows kuti nhasi JS Harare. JS stands for Junior Stars Harare. Munonga muchiudzwa kunzi Junior Stars Harare iri kutamba ne UZ. Best believe game iroro ka pane vanhu vari kutobheja game iroro. That's how much JS Harare was known. People needed to train for JS Harare. Isis would train the normal way, but JS Harare was a mean machine, and I was so proud to be part of that team. What happened to JS Harare? JS Harare crumbled. Kwakauya a new kid on the block here in the Harare city, and it took almost 6 of the top players in the team. I think they took 6 or 8, I can't remember. And ndiko kwakabva kwaita kakupera JS Harare. Takasara isisu, because the people they took, Harare city vanhu vayakatora were the younger players. Saka kwakasara inini. I think I was out of town when all this Harare city business happened. When I came back, I couldn't, I I didn't go. Ndandatombonzi uya utambire chi Harare city uya kuma trials, but I was like, I'm out of town, so I don't know. I came back to Harare. I continued playing for JS Harare for I think a year. Yanga yakutambwa nemagogodera, but magogodera iwaya taizviti magogodera because we're like old. I was almost hitting 30 and I was still playing. and we were still a team to be reckoned with. So I also moved to Harare City when JS Harare died. It eventually died, and I'm still at Harare City right now. My contract yaka expire pangotanga zvinhu COVID, but we are still part of Harare City. We are hoping to get back onto the courts soon, six-a-side wise.
Interesting. Now, there's beach volleyball. Would you love to share with us when you started playing beach volleyball?
Well, for me, it's been a long journey. I started playing beach volleyball in 2011. So you can imagine how long I've been playing. It's something I found as an escape, and it was soon after my mother died, and I fell in love with it. So for me, beach volleyball is really big. It's a big part of my life. I know it sounds crazy, and I guess people didn't see it back then. It's something I've seen kuti it can get us recognized on the world map if we just tried. It's difficult to get sponsorship for small sports. When I say small sports, I mean sports that are not like soccer or cricket or rugby. These people get sponsorship by the mere fact that it's a big sport, it's a well recognized sport. Why would someone sponsor a beach volleyball team? In Zimbabwe, we have no beach, we have no we have nothing close to a beach. The only thing we have is Lake Kariba, and it's mostly rocky beaches, if I can put it that way. But we managed to set up a court somewhere in Harare, and another one. Others are sprucing up in Bulawayo now, but it took so long.
Um, you know, I'm sorry about your mother, but I'm glad that you did find escape in beach volleyball. Um, so you know, being a six-a-side volleyball player and a beach volleyball player, tell us about the transformation. How did all this happen from you being a six-a-side volleyball player and a beach volleyball player?
My transition, my transition, how I ended up playing beach volleyball. Like I'd said before, I found solace in playing beach volleyball. When you're playing, all you're thinking about is the game. That's all you think about. And at the time, I was approached kunzi the coach soba wakauya vakati kune chinhu chinonzi beach volleyball. Would you like to try it out? I was in a bad space. My mom had died, and I had lost it. Like, I think I had mentally lost it completely. You know, there are moments when you cry, there are moments when you just want to die as well, because you're thinking, my rock is gone. So that was me. I I had lost it completely. I was waiting to die. And Coach Soba was like, come and try beach volleyball out. I was like, it's cool, I'll come. I came for a few training sessions and I got hooked. Wakantiti kune beach volleyball from 8. I'd be there maybe at 7:45. Taitrainera kuFio, ku Highfields, opposite Kwanzura Stadium, Community Hall. That's where we were. I get there 7:45, and in Ndaibam town, Ndaigaram town, in some little hostel there. No, before that, Ndaigara Mount Pleasant. So you can imagine how early I'd wake up just to get to Fio before 8. And I would leave Fio maybe my 6, 7. tichingotamba taitamba kusvika tisingachaoni. That's how much time we would spend there. That was my transition. If I could, I would just play beach volleyball. But zvinoitika nemasports edu aya handisi kuziva kuti sei zvichiitika, we can't make up our minds. It's either you're playing beach volleyball or you're playing six-a-side. But the association or our mother body muno muZimbabwe ka hatina league yebeach volleyball, tine league ye-six-a-side, and the same players who play ku-six-a-side are the same players who play ku-beach volleyball. So it's difficult to have a pool of players who are known for beach volleyball only. If you go to six-a-side, the same people you see ku beach volleyball are the same people you see ku six-a-side. So that's how it has been. If I could, I'd change that, but I'm a player at the moment. I've got plans, but I'm a player right now. That's what I want to do. So that was my transition. Whenever I got the chance, I would come and play beach volleyball. Anytime I got the chance, I could spend the whole day playing beach volleyball, and I would not be tired. My spirit would not be tired. My spirit would not be sad. Yeah.
How many clubs have you played beach volleyball for? And tell us more about it.
Kuna zvekuti club ku beach volleyball. If you've noticed or if you've been following what's been happening in beach volleyball, if you are playing on an international scene, you represent your country. Whether you are a national team player with beach volleyball or you are just playing an open tournament, you'll be representing Zimbabwe. Hazvinei team selection. Kana iri open tournament, hazvinei team selection, imari yako. Do you have the money to go to this tournament? Yes. Do you want to play? Yes, you will go. Your kit inonga yakatonzi Zimbabwe, yakanyorwa zita rako nenamba yako kuti uri number player 1 or player 2. Hakuna zvema-club ku beach volleyball. We could do that, but I've not seen it yet. In other countries, they do it. Vatori netuma beach volleyball clubs. It's something we've wanted to do, but it's so difficult dzimwe nguva. But most of the time, tinongotamba nemazita edu kuti partnership yatatenda na Kim. That's a partnership. They're usually called partnerships when you play.
So over the last couple of years, we've seen that the Zimbabwe ladies volleyball teams are excelling. I would love to find out from you, what would you attribute the Zimbabwe beach volleyball ladies team success to? Especially considering that the country doesn't have a single beach.
Now, I think the success of the ladies' team is twofold. The success of our teams of the ladies' teams especially, is because there's less competition. Kuvakadzi kuma sports, there is less competition. You'll notice ukuthi there'll be less women's teams ku English Premier League right now yevakadzi. I think there are about 8 or so teams. Ku netball yakaendwa ku London iya, how many teams were there? There were a few. Now ku beach volleyball kune pamwe patinonzi zvoni you guys automatically qualify ku round 2 of my Continental Cup qualifiers because maybe Angola yatadza kuuya, havana mari vatadza kuuya. So Zimbabwe, because we managed to beat South Africa, or takwanisa kudya one team of the 4 teams that were participating, we qualify. There's less competition in women's sports. And I think it's something people have not realized. Uguti, you can put our name as a country on the map by just pushing for women's sports. Kuvarume, there's so much competition. Kuti uzonzi wa qualifier kwenda kuma Olympics uchitamba ameno beach volleyball yacho iyoyoyo. For men, they need to beat right now men's team ye Zimbabwe. They need to beat the South Africans. The South Africans are seasoned players. These are players who've been playing my world tours. They've got a beach. You need to beat Mozambique. Right now, there's a strong team in Botswana. You need to beat the Tswana. You need to beat the Angolans. The Namibians are not so good, but they've got 4 teams to beat. So it's more competition for the men compared to the women. So I think our success has been because there is less competition. It's easier for women to excel in sports because of the competition. I know it sounds weird, but it's a fact. It's something that's always been there. And for years, you try and push the agenda. Kuti vanhu vazvizive kuti, you know what, we can do this because hakutorina vanhu vacho vari kutamba. So let's just do it. But people don't see that. Vanonge vachiona kunge bhora ndiro rinoita. And yet they leave women out of these things. Vachida kunzi Zimbabwe yakakosha, and they leave women out of these things. So for us as women in beach volleyball to succeed, it's because there's less competition. I also feel like we've succeeded in beach volleyball because we want to. We have the drive, we have the passion. I mean, I've been talking to you for almost the past hour about beach volleyball and about volleyball. I could be doing other things, but I guess zvinongoratidza chido. I've got the passion. I'm not paid to play, but I will do anything to play. So it's the love as well, the passion, the drive. You want to succeed, you want to play. Most of the tournaments I've gone to that have nothing to do with the national team, I've looked for the money myself. The same way we found kit yatawana it's the same way I looked for money. Kungotsvaga munhu, uya anenge ane kamari mbichana, uya anozivana nemunhu. And I've done that. So for women in beach volleyball, it's because they wanted to. They had the drive. And we had good players. We have good players. Like, these are well-known players who indoor volleyball, who've been also playing beach volleyball. It's taken a lot to transition from indoor court to a beach volleyball court, but they've managed to adjust quick enough to play in tournaments and to win these tournaments. So yeah, that's about it, I guess, in how we've transitioned and have managed to put a name for ourselves.
Nice one. So my last question is I do have a picture of how beach volleyball started in Zimbabwe, and so I would love for you to tell our listeners how you guys beach volleyball players managed to construct your own beach volleyball field.
Okay, your last question is a funny question. What have you heard about about constructions in my beach volleyball courts? The first time we played beach volleyball, takatamba pa Vuyiswa, pa Fio, pa community hall. Vuyiswa uya wekuti season yemakonye aya eblack. Vuyiswa iwowo, I could see makonye iwaya ndaitomerera, and I didn't want to step on it. So ndipo pataitambira. And then a week later, tata kunzi timbai ground taane jecha, tawana jecha. takatimba ground, takachera makomba ekuisa mapoles, tobva tawana jecha. But jecha iri takaona kuti pit sand, tawinzirwa pit sand. And pit sand haishandi, hainyudzi. You need beach sand, you need river sand. Zvokuti ukatsika unonyura mbichana. And we had to talk to the people who had supplied us vakazotipa the correct sand, but still it wasn't the right sand because kukangonaya mvura chete ivhu racho rinobatana. It's now as good as a hard surface. So that's what happened. Takatangira kufiyo pa community hall. Tata kutozivikanwa vanzi vasikana vevolleyball. Tata kutozivikanwa tichinotsvaga sadza pajimiji malo kana kuti pamaidhau, because we would spend the whole day there. We needed the sadza because paitimbwa, paishandwa. Huswa hwaingoyarikana hwamera when it rains kana kuti zvabatana. So you had to dig out the sand kuti riite effect yamaida. And then we moved to Presidential Guard, just behind State House. There's a court there, and it's the same story. Ekutimba, jecha racho rinombobatana. I've tried to look for sponsorship, honestly. I tried industrial sands, iri kuGweru. I spoke to a guy there. Akandiudza kuti it's difficult to sponsor jecha muri kuHarare. You'd rather set up a court in Gweru. And that's a whole other story, like the politics involved with that. The Gweru Association in Harare, but you want them to help you get sand. You know, the admin is so much, and yet we all want to push the same agenda. So yeah, time botambira pa Presidential Guard. Then the last time we trained or played, Tata pa Celebration Center. You know, Celebration Center has a court there, but obviously you need to dress right and you need to talk to them in advance. And it's far because some players anonga chipa kumabvuku indrubva kuWestgate unokwira kombi ka2 kuti usvike kuCelebration Center. Kufiyo same thing, vanhu vaikwira kumakombi ka2 kuti vasvike kufiyo. Presidential Guard was ideal nekuti mamuri mutown, so you could get into town then walk kuna Tongogara kuna Tongogara na 9th. We could do that. Indaitoburukina pana chinamanoenda, just walk straight up. So nyaya beach volleyball courts inonetsa, honestly. I'm in the process of talking to a club kuti vandipe space. The last time we spoke to them, vakati they could give us space, but they won't be able to provide sand. No one wants to give us sand because it's expensive. I need almost $3,000 just to get a court. I need more. Ideally, I'd need more, but if I could get sand, nyaya space is usually not a problem because they are willing to give me space, but they're saying, how soon can you get it? So if I can get sand, I will get the ball rolling. I'm in the process of talking to these guys. Atsatashika kure hedu, but I'm getting there. So that's the nyaya with my fields or my courts at beach volleyball. Atina, honestly, I can't say Presidential Guard my courts edwe volleyball. It's one. On a day rekuti kwauya vakomana vakawanda and less girls, it means the guys will have more game time than the girls, and the net height inonga yatosiyana. Nyaya yemacourts inotonetsa, and the boys don't want to play with us because obviously level rekutamba rakatosiyana nakudhara. The boys don't want to play with us. It's a fact. We know this, and they've clearly said it before. So it's difficult kuti we are all using one court and we all want the same thing. So nyaya yemacourts inotonetsa, inondirwadza. honestly. So that's why I'm looking for space where I can just do it and it's ours. My top or first priority would be the women, because ndinorwadziwa netreatment dzinonguva yatinowana from the men. I'm talking about men in our own club, men who you think are your friends, because most of my friends are men I play with this game. I spend a lot of time with them because we play for the same club, we have the same interests. But anokudza kuti I can't play with you, unondidzikisira game rangu pasi. Anodaro point blank kuti I can't train with you, ndokurova nebhora, uchavhunduka, uchatya, and we will get nothing done. And I'm like, have you ever even tried to play with me? Maybe you can learn a thing or two from me. And I can learn more. I know I can learn more from you, but we are both players. Let's just work together. So nyaya yemakotsi inonetsa, honestly, I don't want to lie to you, inonetsa. But yeah, that's how it is. I really need a court though.
Thank you, Vuyiswa Kimberley, for talking to me. So those who are interested in helping Vuyiswa Kimberley can actually click on the description bar, and you will find Kimberley's details. Also make sure you follow them on their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my content. Thank you.